So hi and welcome to another Tech Tuesday where we take a look at gaming peripherals and I give my views on which ones are good and their pros and cons. So the usual format of these is we'll take a look at the technical spec, then we'll take a look at the pros and cons, and then sometimes some game footage, say if there's a mouse to show what it looks like. Today's going to be on the Corsair Polaris MM800 versus the Razer Firefly Cloth and Hard Edition. During this video I'll also be doing a giveaway for this Razer Cloth version that I've got here and I'm unboxing. And later in the month, I'll be doing a review on the SteelSeries QCK Prismo gaming map, which is the rival to the Corsair and Razer, and I'll be doing comparisons. So starting off here with the Corsair MM800, the dimensions are 350mm wide by 260mm high by 5mm thick. The 5mm here is the surface thickness, it isn't including the USB part at the front. It's made from plastic. It's a textured gaming surface and it's optimized for speed and control. It comes with a 2-year warranty. It's got full RGB lighting on the outer rim and it's also on the Corsair logo on top of the pad. It has a USB pass-through on the front block, though if you've got a device that does require quite a bit more power through the USB port, it's probably advisable to plug it directly into the PC, as this is only a pass-through. It comes with a standard USB adapter and a 1.5mm braided cable. And it also requires to function the Corsair QE software, which is Corsair's utility engine. So moving on here to the Razer Firefly. This is unboxing the cloth version, and I'll be showing it compared to the hard version as well. The comparison is going to be across both, because the surface is the only difference. The size dimensions are the same. So the Razer Firefly is very similar. It's 355mm by 255mm by 4mm in thickness. The 4mm here also doesn't include the USB part at the front. It's made also from plastic. It's got a micro textured surface optimized for speed and control as well. I couldn't find the warranty information, but I'm assuming it's 1 year from Razer, as all their products seem to be 1 year. It comes with RGB lighting also on the outside rim and on the Razer logo. It comes with a gold plated USB plug and is attached to a 2 m plus braided cable. And it requires a Razer Synapses software to function and control the RGB lighting. So the pros and cons here for each peripheral. Corsair braided cable is shorter at 1.5 meters versus the Razer's 2 meters. It's 2.1. Also, something to note if you're doing some cable management here is the Corsair cable is slightly thicker due to the USB pass-through. The Corsair's surface here is quite rough compared to the Razer hard surface, which is very light, although textured. It's not as rough as the Corsair, and this could probably irritate my wrist, to be fair. Just something to note. If you do like a grippier surface, the Corsair is probably the one to go for. If you like a smooth hard surface, then Razer is the way to go here. The Razer mat overall is a smaller footprint to the Corsair. You'll see that here in the video when they're laid on top of each other. And that the difference really is around the USB plug at the top, and the Corsair is slightly tapered forward. But the actual surface to use your mouse mat on is pretty much the same. It's just a footprint on your desk. If you're putting it with one of your setups, you might want to take that into account. Razer, as you can see, has the smaller block compared to the Corsair, which is rather large. Probably about 1 inch high, whereas Razer's is probably half that height. This is due to Corsair having the USB pass-through. Whether you want that or not, it's up to you. For me, the block is a bit of an issue, and I prefer the smaller version. I guess an option here to get around the high profile of this plug on the Corsair is to use a mouse bungee. Check out Razer's got a few of those on their website. The thickness, although the Corsair comes in at 1mm thicker, if we're talking here on the surface, you really can't tell that at all. So there's no difference here. I didn't notice any of that being a problem on the actual gaming surface. They're both made really well here. The quality on them both very good. They're both quite flexible, but obviously they're RGB, so you can't bend them in half. But they both weren't as, rigid as you would expect. The Corsair RGB lighting, because it's on the side profile, whereas the Razer's kind of under a lip, does look predominantly brighter when you're looking down at the mouse mat. And this probably is more down to personal preference. The Razer here tries to light the desk a bit more up rather than the side of the mat, whereas the side of the mat on the Corsair kind of pushes out from the sides with this kind of RGB rim it's got. The Razer logo is also slightly better lit than the Corsair. The Corsair logo is quite hard to see, but it's got RGB lighting. And on the cloth version of the Razer mat, something to take into account here is that the Razer logo is actually raised, and that can cause a problem if your mouse runs over it, although it's kind of out the way, but still something to bear in mind. Whereas on the hard surfaces, both Corsair and the hard Firefly, the logo is built into the mat, so you can run over it with your mouse without any issues. How do these mats stick to the surface? So I did a little bit of a pressure test. I mean, you've got to put a lot of pressure down. They're both very well stuck to your desk. I had no issues here with them moving when you're gaming with them whatsoever. Although the Corsair, if anything, is probably slightly less grippy if there's less pressure on the mat. but to be honest, you wouldn't even notice that because your palm would be resting on the mat itself. So what point most of you all been waiting for is the giveaway here for this Razer Firefly cloth. To enter this, you need to be subscribed to my channel, you need to have liked the video, and you need to put in the comments where you're from. I just want to see where people are from, see where my audience is around. So if you put your country in, any of the comments you want to put in there, but it's going to contain your country, and I'll ship this to you, includes international shipping. I'll contact you once it's over. The giveaway announcement will be in a week's time, so make sure you get that in. So overall, which one would I pick out of these two? For me, it's the Razer Hard Firefly. I've been using it for about 6 months. This is the one that I've been using. You can see it still looks pretty new. The real issue for me on the Corsair was the USB block. It's significantly higher. I don't like it. It really gets in the way for me. As well as the Corsair having a much rougher surface. I think that would irritate my wrist because I drag my wrist across the mouse pad. If your arm's raised off the mouse pad, then you probably won't have this issue, but for me, it would certainly cause a bit of an issue. For me, Razer is the way to go forward for this, for my personal preference. Though I'm quite interested to try out the Steel series, which I'll be doing very soon. So if you want to see some more of these, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you all